Hello. This video is going to be for Gianluca 387, somebody who had commented on one of my setup videos and they had a question. And that question was in regards to how I got my clear arms perfectly level with each other. So you'll see, the top of this clear arm right here, and the top of this clear arm right there. Okay. The issue is that you can do this wrong if you don't follow the steps that I'm going to give you in this video. So the very first thing, if you're doing a brand new build, is you need to make sure that everything is plugged in to this receiver correctly. Your servos need to be plugged in to the correct ports, and your ESC also need to be plugged into the correct ports. All of this needs to be done before you install these clear arms, these L arms, onto that brass looking toothy gear. Okay, it's hard to see. I'm trying to point it out. It's right there. It's in between the servo and the horn. Okay, there's a little brass gear looking thing. Okay, all of the cables need to be plugged into the receiver. The unit needs to be powered on. Okay, all of that needs to be done prior to installing these, because these servos are not centered or set to the home position from the factory. And when you first plug in the battery, they center themselves. Okay. Once they're centered, then you can go ahead and press fit these clear arms and the horn bracket, this four-sided arm here. Okay, they come pre-installed together. Before you press fit on there, you need to get them aligned as close as possible. It's not going to be perfect. You can try to get it as perfect as possible, but you would be lucky if they were absolutely perfect. Mine were slightly off. I got them, onto the teeth the right way, and it wasn't 100%. It was close. The rest of it was done on my transmitter via the sub trim option. Okay, when I power on my transmitter and I go to my menu, my servo setup, I have travel and sub trim. Okay, in my sub trim, I can make micro adjustments to these control arms, behind it all, right? You're doing a sub beneath trim, different from the trim that you would have during flight, like these right here. That's different. That's not sub trim. That's like your flight trim. That's your in-flight trim. We're not talking about trimming your arms out that way. You could, but that's not the correct way, in my opinion. The correct way to adjust that is to go into your servo setup, like I said, your sub trim, like I had mentioned, and make the adjustments on your right aileron, left aileron, RAL, LAL, that way. And if I were to move my arm down, powered off, right? So my unit's powered off. This is no longer at its home position. if I were to plug the battery in, this arm's going to go zit, because it knows it's not home. It's not homed. It's not centered or zeroed, whatever you want to call it. And as soon as you give it power, it goes zit back to zero. Now imagine if you installed your arms before you ever centered them, before they were ever put to home, and then they went home and your arms went cattywampus opposite each other or something crazy because you installed the arms before you centered it. So I feel like I'm beating a dead horse, but the point is that I really want to be clear and thorough so that this makes sense. So yeah, hopefully that helps. There's the brassy tooth. You know, this side has teeth and this side has teeth, and there's only so many teeth, and they have to line up, the grooves have to line up perfectly. And the problem is that if you find the correct groove where everything fits on, it might not be perfect it might not be perfectly level how you want it. As you can see from this shot, here's the clevis, this silver thing, the silver piece is your clevis. Okay. This right here. And it has a hole that it goes through. That hole should pretty much line up with the hole that your string goes through. It should be pretty stinking close. You can get a ruler, you can get a level, you can get a knife like I'm using, right? That's how it should be. Level here and level here. Now I moved this arm for demonstration purposes, but you know, if I were to go ahead and plug this battery in, oh my goodness, okay. Look what happens to the arm. Boop. Right back up. And you'll see everything's level now. The top of my clear arm where the string goes through is perfectly level to my eye on either side. Trying to see if you can get some better perspective, but anyway, hope you enjoy that explanation. Hopefully that answered some questions for you. Peace.